I call to order this hearing of the Foreign Affairs Subcommittee on Europe, Eurasia, and Emerging Threats. Today's topic is the threat of China's unsafe consumables, an emerging threat. After the ranking members and I each take our 5 minutes to make opening remarks, each member present will have 1 minute to make some opening remarks as well, alternating between majority and minority members, and without objection, all members will have 5 days to submit statements, questions, extraneous material for the record. Hearing no objection, so ordered. Well, who could forget that agricultural interests were the driving force behind various trading and trade expanding understandings that our country has had with the Communist Chinese regime in Beijing. Who would have thought that the People's Republic of China would become a significant food exporter, especially of fruits, vegetables, seafood, and dairy products? And the farming community, the agricultural industry, put so much effort because they just saw this as a market for their goods. Never did they consider that these would be competitors, and competitors that did not have to meet the same standards that they have. Chinese industry has also become a major producer of drugs and chemicals used in both medicine and food processing, and yes, and in manufacturing as well. Thus, the health and safety not only of the United States and Europe, but that of people around the world has become dependent on the quality of goods imported from China. Yet the task of inspecting and testing Chinese goods is beyond the ability of governments, considering the magnitude of that challenge. It's beyond their ability to do a good job, or at least that's what I'm suggesting. We're going to hear from our witnesses what they think about that. Astonishingly, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration inspects less than 2% of the food imports from China. This is a major security concern. And why? Because the record of Chinese quality in their food production is extremely poor. Indeed, CNN reported Monday that poultry workers moving to and from wet markets and farms may be responsible for the spread of the deadly H7N9 virus in China. Read that, the bird flu virus. We import poultry now to feed animals, but the FDA may soon approve the importation of Chinese poultry for human consumption. Now, does this move make sense at all? Ronald Reagan once said of the Soviet Union, "Trust but verify." In regards to Communist China, however, we cannot trust, nor can we verify. Chinese producers are motivated to cut corners, dilute content, counterfeit products to maximize profits, and keep prices so low as to dominate export markets. Chinese supervision and regulation is weak and corrupt. We have the irony of a communist system that has spawned the most predatory capitalism of all. The result is food that makes you sick and drugs that will not make you well and could well kill you. Even the state-owned media knows the problem. Last October, China Daily cited a marketing survey which found, and I quote, "Food safety is a top concern for Chinese shoppers, especially regarding such produce as vegetables, meat, seafood, grain, cooking oils, and dairy goods," end of quote. If this is true within China, then it should also be true for foreign markets. And a series of scandals involving toxic chemicals and other fillers in food products around the world confirm this. Yet, Chinese agricultural exports continue to increase, driven by their low prices. The same is true in the pharmaceutical industry. There has been movement, again, unexpected, of much of that industry from the United States to China. Just like in the agricultural area, we saw a whole industry shift over to China that was never predicted by agriculture. Well, it also hasn't been predicted by the pharmaceutical industry. Beijing has been allowed, for example, to join the World Trade Organization, which helped this shift. This shift was motivated by a desire to cut costs by using cheap Chinese labor and by avoiding expensive regulation. This opened the door not only to lower quality output, but made it easier for counterfeiters to infiltrate the supply side and supply chains of our pharmaceutical products. Drugs with weak dosages or no active ingredients at all endanger public health and discredit treatment programs. Fake drugs undermine U.S. efforts to treat illnesses in developing countries. For example, the State Department has requested $650 million in 2014 to fight malaria in developing countries. Yet half that anti-malaria drugs that are on the market in South Asia and Africa have been found to be counterfeit. And most of these fake drugs come from where? China. Fakes also threatened the campaign against diabetes and other significant and debilitating diseases. Beside the global health, safety, and security threats created by unscrupulous Chinese business practices and the corrupt lack of supervision by Chinese authorities, there is a competitive issue as well. American farmers are the most productive in the world and are held to rigorous standards. The same is true of the American pharmaceutical industry, which creates the world's most advanced medicines. Yet, if the U.S. exports are defeated in the marketplace on the basis of lower prices stemming from illicit cost-cutting, then the American producer, as well as our entire economy, will suffer. Counterfeit products are often sold under the brand name of the legitimate product, such as Pfizer or Lipitor or several others. Indeed, there has been, and there is hardly an American company that has not been victimized by this Chinese larceny. And when the product does not work, the brand is held responsible. But yet it's not the people at that company that's been making the product. It's a knockoff by some Chinese company that has been permitted to do so by the Chinese authorities that should be enforcing the rule of law. Now, if you end up having a Chinese company under the name of another company, an American company or whatever, what we've done is we have slandered the name of an American company, and we have slandered the ability of the people of the United States and our system as well, because we have basically been, at that point, saying to the world, this is what our products are like, when it isn't our product. This is something we've got to stop if we're going to maintain the integrity and the trust that the people around the world have in American products. Not to mention, we've got to stop it because there are people who are being injured and killed because they're using these phony products that are being manufactured by someone else other than who is on the label. Are there measures we can take or persuade China not to do certain things, or are there things that China can be persuaded to do to safeguard consumers from dangerous exports? Or what steps can we make? Or should we just ban all such goods from China from the marketplace because they're inherently unsafe? Well, that's a question we'll have to talk about today. The production and distribution of such critical goods as food and medicine, upon which life itself depends, cannot be trusted unless there is integrity throughout the manufacturing and supply chains. We have gathered this panel of experts to help us decide what the policy options are. With that, Mr. Keating, would you have an opening statement?
Thank you, Mr. Chair.